Hey everyone, it's Marco here and back once again from mycolorscreen, bringing you the latest and greatest Android home screen and customization tutorials. So judging from our Facebook poll, it seems that a lot of people have customized lock screens, and that's why we decided, well, why not have a complete lock screen tutorial? Yes, that's right, today's video tutorial is on the complete guide to Widgetlocker. In this complete guide, I'll be going through everything that you need to know to completely customize the lock screen for your Android, as well as setting up a very simple lock screen that's perfect for your Android phone. So let us begin with today's video tutorial. Boom! So we all know that with every great home screen comes a very powerful lock screen. And I highly recommend that the best app in order to get your best lock screen is Widgetlocker. As you can see, this is purely Widgetlocker. No fancy tricks, so let us begin with this tutorial. Great, so the first thing you want to do is download Widgetlocker from the Play Store. It is slightly pricey, but in the long term, it's highly recommended. I don't know about you, but I sometimes end up using my lock screen more than my actual phone, as I'm always, say, busy during class, during meetings, and my lock screen is pretty much that divider of knowing how many messages I have or just quick shortcuts to get to. So when you download it and you select and open it up, it pretty much brings up what your lock screen is going to look like. As you can see, mine's already been modified like this, but don't worry, I'm going to be starting from scratch. So it all starts with this little settings button at the top there. Selecting that will bring up your Widgetlocker options and menu, and pretty much there are so many options for you to customize here. Great, so the first thing you want to do is enable Widgetlocker, otherwise obviously it's not going to be working, so I highly recommend always having that selected. Great, so next we have our settings options over here. We're going to be starting off with our buttons and inputs. Now as you can see, there are quite a few options for you to choose here, such as easy wake mode, back button unlock, and what each of these do, well, it actually gives you a little explanation beneath if you always get confused. But it just allows for more user functionality for your lock screen. Now each one of these are very good, but I don't always recommend having each of these, such as easy wake mode, as sometimes the phone will be in my pocket and pretty much, it's very easy to unlock with having that setting on. So I pretty much like to keep most of these off. You're welcome to have, say, camera button unlock if you really want, but be careful, it can unlock your phone very easily. A few options that I do really like though is your allow volume buttons. So the ones over here, say you just want to put it on silent or you want to turn up the volume, you don't have to unlock your phone to do that. You can just pretty much do it there. But then again, you have to be careful that you don't put it on silent and you don't hear any calls. Now these bottom four here, I think are probably the most important options that you're going to be using. The first one is allow interactions. So if you have any icons or widgets on your home screen, selecting that will then actually enable you to open them. Say if you've got Widgetlocker and you've got hotspots enabled, then this allows you to actually open up any of those. So I highly recommend having that on. Same goes for slide button as interaction. Next is your block power dialog. Now this happens is when the power button on the side of your phone, this pretty much just blocks that so you don't end up putting it on silent or turning it off while your phone is locked. It's quite a handy thing to have, but you're welcome to disable it. And then finally, disable notification bar. This also helps as, say, if your phone's in your pocket, you don't want it sliding down and opening up interactions and changing anything from the top here, say if it slides down like that. So yeah, if you don't like this, you're welcome to take them off, but I find them quite handy. Next, we're going to be going into our look and feel, and this is probably the most important options that you're going to be playing around with, as it's pretty much like a launcher setup. So first thing you want to definitely change is your alternative wallpaper. So say for the one that I'll be showing now, you'll be selecting alternative wallpaper, then select wallpaper. You just need to find where it will be, resize it, and then select save, and it'll save it accordingly. Next, you have your background tint. What this enables you to do, it's actually pretty cool. It enables you to adjust the tint for your background. So say if you got the same background and you lock it, it just shows you that your phone is actually locked because the wallpaper has now been tinted. It actually comes in handy quite often. Next, we come into our layout. Now this is actually quite important, as it's pretty much like a launcher grid size. Now it might not be too apparent, but this over here enables you to pretty much change the grid size above and below, and then as you can see, the bottom's purely for a custom slider. Being that I always like to customize my lock screens, you wanted to have this all the way down at the bottom, as yeah, I don't really need that custom slider option at the bottom, because what if you want it at the top, if you want it on the sides? So I always like to have that at the bottom. Next thing here, it should be enabled is automatically determine grid size. I always disable it because I don't want it to determine the grid size for me. I like to determine my own. So for the one that the Retro Nexus 4 lock screen here, I'm going for an 11 by 8. As I always like to have more, But if your icons get cropped, you want to either change your columns or your rows. Remember, that's when adding in an icon. If it's a little bit cropped off, yeah, change one of these, make it a little bit less, and it should work out for you. And remember to always go save. Screen orientation, that's pretty much if you want it to always be portrait, always want it to be landscape. Unlock animation's pretty cool. You can either make it zoom into your home screen, you make it fade, slide. It's pretty cool. I really like this unlock animation. Next, you want to disable label shortcuts, because I think you pretty much know what shortcuts you have, especially if they're really custom and you don't want to have those ugly shortcuts appearing. You also want to hide the notification bar, especially if you want a very customized home screen. You're also welcome to leave it on, and then you can always just see quickly if you have any special notifications at the top there, but I always disable it. So if we go back now, and we now come into our unread counts, this is especially cool if you have Nova Launcher and you've got your Tesla unread. So it's pretty much if you've got your Gmail, your missed calls, or your unread SMSs, having this enabled will put a little 1 there or 2 depending on how many counts you have. So it is really cool, but yeah, you need Nova Launcher Prime. Coming close to the end here, we have our screen timeout. This pretty much you can determine when you want your phone to time out. I like it to be around 15 seconds, but you're welcome to change it, making it more or less. Your pop-ups, this is especially important if you're using any other, say, special SMS pop-ups or something, and you don't want them to pop up and spoil your beautiful lock screen. So you always want to, I'd say, hide. But luckily I don't have any of these enabled, so I don't have to worry about that, but always keep that in mind. Next is your backup and restore. So for here, this enables you just to say back up your grid size as well as your icons involved. If you're using widgets, it does say to you that it doesn't back up the widgets entirely. So it's pretty much just like a Nova or Apex backup, where it'll put the widgets back, but you still have to pretty much re-add them. So keep that in mind. Great, so finally we have our advanced settings. Now these you can also just play around with, but there's not too much here that I like to change. The one thing that you really, it's pretty much a given, I don't even know why it's in advance, it should be in your layout, is your widget overlap. Because pretty much you always want to have your widgets overlapping, otherwise it can get quite annoying to try and fit some of those widgets on. So I highly recommend enabling widget overlap. And then we have our advanced settings complete, and this is pretty much everything from the internal part of Widgetlocker. We're now going to be going into the front side of it. So we're going to go back now, and if you've just installed Widgetlocker, you should have some random, like a clock widget and a custom slider. All you want to do is hold down on it. Let's say for this clock over here, you'd hold down on it and then select remove, or you can even just drag it in the bin below. I always like to go remove because it's a lot easier. Great, so now you want to be adding stuff on your lock screen, and it's very easy. It's pretty much exactly the same as you would using Nova Launcher or even Apex Launcher. All you do, you'd hold down on the home screen. For a custom slider, you would select that, but I'll get to that later. But first you want to select, say, applications like those icons over there. So whatever it is, say if you want to add, say, the camera, you just select the camera, and there it is like that. To change the icon, you'd hold down on it, select edit, select the icon. I always go for gallery and then say gallery. Find where you've copied it onto your phone, select the camera, and then don't worry if it's cropped, just leave it. Don't try and fiddle around with the crop, just select the tick and then go OK. Now as you can see, it hasn't changed because Widgetlocker is a bit slow with changing icons. I do not know why, but don't worry, just give it some time. Maybe even cancel it and then, or quit the app and then go back into it, and that sometimes reloads it. Sometimes it goes very quick, sometimes it doesn't. These three here were very quick, but these three here took about 5 minutes. Yeah, I just had to go out of Widgetlocker and then go back in, and it worked. But don't worry, if it doesn't change, it will eventually change. You might just have to restart the app. So, and then hold down and selecting remove will get rid of it. Great, so now you want to add in a widget. So from here you want to hold down on the home screen and see what happens. I'm holding down on the home screen and nothing's happening. This is, I think, a bug by Widgetlocker, and it gets quite irritating if you can't add in anything, but you can still modify your widgets. So what I recommend you do is just quit the app, go back into it, and holding down, as you can see, it now works. So I really hope that helps you. I had to learn the hard way. So from here you want to select your widgets now to add in a widget. So for these it's going to be your UCCW for the retro Nexus. So you want to select UCCW. As always, it doesn't really matter what size you choose because you can always resize it accordingly. Now hopefully you've copied those UZIPs onto your phone. So say for the clock, we're just going to select the clock. What Widgetlocker likes to do is tell you that it won't be able to fit, but don't worry. As long as you change the rows and columns and makes it not red anymore, then yeah, you can then add it onto your phone, hold down on the widget and select resize, and this will allow you to now pretty much add it back to the way it was. I don't really know why they say it can't fit as you got overlapping widgets enabled, so that allows you to pretty much go over like that. So if you can't do that, that means your overlapping widgets in the advanced settings hasn't been enabled. So I like it like that, and that's pretty much how to add in a UCCW. As you can see, this is all pretty much UCCW except for this little slider button over here. It looks really cool. So to add in a custom slider, make sure you got some space. If not, say for this, you need to want to resize that, make that a bit smaller so you got some free space. You want to hold down on the lock screen, you want to select custom slider now. Now if you've just installed Widgetlocker like me and you don't have too many themes, don't worry, you can check out XDA. It's got a huge amount of Widgetlocker themes, but for now I don't really have any. So what you want to do is go get themes. You want to select the Widgetlocker website. As you can see, there isn't much, but the one that you want to get is chromeless. So in order to download any of these, you just want to select it now, and you want to select the Widgetlocker option, and that'll download it onto your phone. As you can see, there it is downloaded. So once it's downloaded, you want to select it. You might have to install it, just say yes. And now here it is. Now what's cool about this unlock button right here is if you slide across and unlock it, this gives you the option to change pretty much all the settings that it can do, as well as the image itself. So I want to change the icon. As you can see, you can change what applications you want to open. Say if you don't want to unlock your phone, maybe you want to open up your camera or something else, you can change the application to a camera. But for now, I'm just going to be changing the icon. So I'm going to select icon. I want to go into my gallery and find it. And you just need to use the one that's provided. It just looks like a little block over here. We're just going to select it. Doesn't matter about cropping, just select OK. And then you want to select done. So what that does now is change that custom slider to the one that you want, and then now you can resize it to wherever you want. So I just moved it down here to the bottom. I'm just going to remove this one. And what's great, say for example you can't get to it, maybe your UCCW or some other widgets in the front, make sure that it's sent to front. So if say like this, now my custom slider I can't get to, that's because it's behind my widget. So I want to hold down on my widget and say send to back, boom, it pops up. Now I can unlock the phone. This will also allow you to pretty much just exits the app. And that is our guide complete. Don't worry, I'll be providing these UCCW skins in the description below. And the great thing about UCCW is, what if you don't want to have that saying mycolorscreen at the top? Well, as long as you got your lock widgets mode off in UCCW editor, then you can go back into this Widgetlocker and then select it, and it pretty much works as a home screen. And then once you get it to the way you want it, turn on lock widgets on again. So say if you tap this, it'll look like that. So that's pretty much it. Remember, if you want to use your lock screen, you just need to go back and lock your phone. Let's just lock it like that. So that's locked. I'm going to unlock it. And there we have our brand new lock screen. Wow. Looks really cool, really different than a simple boring ice cream sandwich or jelly bean lock screen. And there we have our slider button to unlock to your whatever you want to have on your home screen. So thank you very much guys for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this complete guide. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below, or even in our new forum. Yes, that's right, mycolorscreen has a forum for everything that you want and need or have questions on. So thank you very much guys for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as check out our Facebook, Google+, and Twitter communities. We're going to be having a lot more lock screen tutorials, so you might want to keep checking out this channel. Thank you very much guys for watching. This is Marco from mycolorscreen, and don't stop customizing.